Alright, so I've recently seen a lot of people ask in the official Discord that they don't know how to really properly nuke, and I've even seen some YouTubers who can't properly nuke in story mode, which is why they're struggling. And honestly, that's just really disappointing to see, and that was the motive for me to create this video. I'm gonna teach 5 ways that I would use to properly nuke. Now, obviously, these are not my ways, people already did them before me, and they don't know who to credit because no one could really claim these, as everyone just found them in their replays. So I'm gonna go from the easiest to the hardest one, and from replays, and I'm gonna go from what requires the least to what requires the most amount of RNG and work for you, for these strategies to work for you. So I hope that you guys can find this helpful and share this with people who still don't know how to properly nuke. And yes, I will be sharing that strategy where you can nuke even if your character doesn't use their turn. So enjoy. Okay, so this is the first strategy. This strategy is for new players and it will work the best for them. So what you need to have is obviously these 5 characters. You can use golden ball width limiter over here as well. So, and in order to properly nuke over here, what you need to do is get your Genos to buff Sluggerous and Terrible Tornado, or whoever you're nuking with. So you only need 2 people to get the right buff. That's relatively easy. And you could replace your Genos with your Terrible Tornado in this position, but I only did it this way so Terrible Tornado can chase after Genos. She can obviously chase on her turn too, but chasing before her own turn will increase your odds of actually chasing, if that makes any sense. So, and also over here, King wouldn't work even if you had him mythical, and if it isn't talent 30, because Sluggerous gets 40 rage when he attacks, and Eyelashes gets 50 rage when he attacks, and King only gets 30. So you do need Child Emperor T30 for King to work. So I'm gonna let this one play now. Alright, so this is the second strat. It is more friendly for players who are now experienced into the game and they know how it works. So you definitely need 3 buff over here, which is more RNG. You need Sluggerous and Terrible Tornado. There's no getting around that. You need for them to get buff. If your Hellish Blizzard can survive a hit, then she doesn't need to be buff, but she likely won't. So those are 3 things one thing actually that you need to happen for those 3 characters to get the buff. So now I'll let this replay play. Okay, so this is the third strategy. This is only gonna work if you have, actually all strategies after this are only gonna work if you have talent 30 King and talent 30 Child Emperor. You can't just have either, you need both. So what you need for your gens to do is buff King and Lightning Max and your Nuker. You either need that, or you need Genos to buff King, Child Emperor and your Nuker. And you'll need to hope that Child Emperor buffs your Nuker and Lightning Max. Lightning Max needs to be buffed because so he can use his ult. What Lightning Max ult allows is for him is, wow, I keep stuttering. What it allows him to do is basically if your ally gets a kill, they will recover 40 rage. So if you kill 3 enemies, that's already a full rage bar. So this works really well if your nuker is a bit overpowered, or I guess over leveled. So now I'm gonna let this replay. Play. Okay, so this is the 4th strategy. It is literally the most common one used in higher chapters. It's basically a strategy where you need King and Turbo Tornado to get buff. If Child Emperor buffs gets a buff too from Genos, that's nice, but usually for most of the series that's not needed because Child Emperor has his own shield. This one is commonly used in higher chapters, as I said before, and you do need a really strong nuker and a really high limit breaker Geishu. So those are the things that you need to me. That's obviously the con, that you need a really strong nuker. You would see me use the strategy, but not very often, of course. So now I'm gonna let this replay play. Alright, so this is my 5th strategy, and it's my favorite one. It's the one that I always use, and it really just is the best one for damage. So what you need is 2 nukers, and Turbo Tornado is an obvious requirement. You can probably use Watchdog Man instead of Golden Ball if you want to, but Golden Ball would do more damage because he has Limit Breaker. So what you need, what Gems buff you need is you need King and Golden Ball to get the buff. But if you get Golden Ball, Child Emperor, and King buff for here, that's fine too. And if instead of those you get Turbo Tornado, Golden Ball, and King buff, that's cool too. If your Child Emperor can buff your main nuker, which in this case is obviously Golden Ball. And for this, you also need your Turbo Tornado to chase and hope that she buffs your main nuker, which is Golden Ball. So this is the one that I really like to use, and it has helped me a lot. So now I'm gonna let this replay play.